Good evening and welcome to Shady Grove Radio. I'm Dan Loggins, and joining me right now are two people you know, Pastor Doreen and Pastor Chris. We have some big news to announce. Our in-person worship services are coming back. Pastor Chris, tell me what's going to be happening this Sunday.
Yeah, so we've tried our best to come up with our best no-touch environment as we can. So when you come in, the doors outside the preschool entrance and the courtyard will be propped open. And the big thing we're asking is that people will be willing to wear their masks from the door to the seats. So and if everyone has masks for that length of time at least, that will really help, I think, the most cautious person feel safe. And that's the big thing for us, is we want people, if they've missed being in community, they're still nervous. Things like masks, things like using hand sanitizer as soon as you come in, I think that will help everybody just take the level of anxiety down a little bit until we all can get to our seats. And so we're going to do that. The sanctuary doors will be propped open as well, and there'll be an usher there or a staff member there just to help guide you to a seat, just to make sure we keep everything in some sort of orderly fashion that first week, so we all feel comfortable and do it all as the best job that we can.
Pastor Doreen, let me ask a question. Did you guys call Governor Cooper and how did y'all come about this decision to do this?
Well, we've been very cautious through this whole process, and that's why we're one of the last churches to actually have indoor services in our district. We've just been following things on the news and really praying over this. We've just tried to be extra cautious. We have a very large population in our church that are more than likely at risk, and we have a lot of families, and we just want to keep everyone's health in mind. And we've looked at what a lot of other churches have done, what they've done well, what did not work, and probably even with our plan that we feel very confident about, there will probably be some things that don't work, but we're going to refine it every week and just try to make the safest, best environment that we can so people feel comfortable to come.
Proverbs 28:26 says, "A man is a fool to trust in himself." I could probably testify to that one. A man is a fool to trust in himself, but those who use God's wisdom are safe. Are we using God's wisdom in this?
Well, I will say we've spent a lot of time in prayer over this, and part of the reason that we have waited as long as we have is we've really been trying to follow Romans 13 and, being a church that respects the authority that the government has, but also keeping our community online has not been ideal. It's not how ministry, is
in person is
game changer.
So much better.
Yeah.
What about the legal aspect of this? I mean, is this even legal? I have no idea.
Yeah, so way back in late April, early May, there was an exception for churches where we could still run at about half capacity or something along those lines. And so even with that, we were still really cautious. We could have legally been in a long time ago, but we chose to not, just because we want to make sure we had all the right protocols in place.
So for those who come on Sunday, they're not going to walk into a packed auditorium?
Nope. So we have the sanctuary split off. It'll be every other row, and then even in the rows, we're going to try to split off the row, kind of cut in half for family units. Now, if you have a family unit like Pastor Doreen, who has 10 billion people in their family, they will take up a whole row. But if you have 1 to 3 people, you might sit on one side of the pew, and then another 1 to 3 people might sit on the other side of the pew and social distance apart in that. But the pews will be every other row.
But you guys alone didn't make this decision.
No, we've had a great team.
Proverbs 24:6 says, "The more advice you get, the more likely you are to win." It's just saying ask for advice. Who did we get advice from on this?
Well, our leadership team, the local board of administration, along with Jerry Lumstrom, our district superintendent, our production team. There's been a lot of people speaking into this. We've even tried to get advice from other churches. How did this work? Why did you do it this way? And we've tried to really let a lot of smarter people than we are speak into this so that we can be prepared.
So who's going to be there? Are we going to have a children's session, sermon, and all of
The
that?
children at this point, we will not meet separately. The service Sunday will be for families, and we want the families to feel comfortable to come, even if they have babies. There will be no staffing of the nursery, but the nursery will be available if a baby came and needed that. We don't want them to be paranoid about their kids being not perfectly quiet during the service. We will have activity bags for them with quiet activities they can do, but it's okay.
So if if I have my granddaughter here,
bring it on. Yeah,
and she needs to be excused, then I just take her to the nursery and take care of that myself.
And we'll have cleaning supplies there. So we are asking that if you use it after you leave, to wipe it down and clean it up for the next person to use. But a family service is not a bad thing.
Well,
so this might be a wonderful opportunity, especially since we haven't been in community for so long, to come together as a family.
I haven't changed a diaper in years, so I will
sign
not.
you up.
That was very far-fetched.
I'll sign you up once we get there.
I will not be in the nursery. So what is this going to look like? Okay, I'm going to pull into the church, and I'm going to wave at the greeter and park my car, and then I'm going to walk to one of the entrance, the canopy entrance and
preschool entrance.
Okay, we call that the preschool entrance. It's the one with the canopy.
Courtyard.
The courtyard entrance. And those doors will be open, so I won't have to touch a door.
And there'll be hand sanitizer as soon as you walk in, where you can sanitize your hands and stuff like that, and then walk in the sanctuary and
technically, there will be a booth outside as well.
For any questions.
Or if you pull in the driveway and you suddenly realize you left your masks at home, they will have extras there. We don't have enough to pass out to everyone because most people have their own mask these days.
I have a North Carolina Tar Heels mask, so if I leave it at home, you'll have a Tar Heels mask.
I'm okay with that. But that happens all the time to us. We'll get all the way to the store, no mask in our car. Like, don't turn around, come in. We'll have those extras available.
Now, what if I see some people I need to talk to or want to talk to? Haven't seen these people.
Stand 6 feet away from them.
Stand 6 feet.
But not in the church.
Not in the building, because we want to keep the people in the building moving.
Yes, not a lot of congregating in the building itself.
So if I see my buddy, I can wave, but I need to wait until we get outside before I have a conversation.
Yeah, again, we just want to do our best to keep the anxiety level down. So the quickest we can get people inside and outside the building. When we're in service, we don't want to rush and make it feel like we are just flying through the worship service. We want to give God his time and the opportunity to praise him and the opportunity for him to speak to us. But before and after service, we want to do our best to get people in and out as quickly as possible. Now, once we get outside, that's different. Like, once we get outside, we still ask that people stay apart, but if you need to talk or catch up, we see that in our drive-in service a lot. We'll see people hang back, their cars hang back, and they'll catch up because they haven't seen each other for a long time, and that's cool. Like, that's why we want to do community.
Right. And the other thing just to note is the doors will not open until 10:15.
Okay.
We don't want, if you come early, you're not going to want to sit for 30 minutes. You're going to want to visit and hug and shake hands, and those things we're just going to avoid altogether.
So if I get here, the doors are not open, I can sit in the car and wait, or I can get out and mill around, walk through the cemetery.
As long as you stay 6 feet away from, the other folks, so you don't put anybody.
Well, they're 6 feet under, so
they'd be okay over there.
Okay. All right. Well,
and they got weird.
Sorry about that. And this is at what time?
10:15.
Okay.
The service will start at 10:30.
Okay.
The doors will open at 10:15.
What are the other options? If I don't want to come and be a part of the in-person thing, what are the other options?
Yeah, we still have our drive-in service, which we've been doing 2 months now. At 9 o'clock outside the children's area. That's at 9, and we have a radio transmitter that we started doing last week. So if you want to come and keep your air conditioning on, we have that available. We'll also have speakers if you want to have your windows down and park and listen that way. And the cool thing about that starting this week is whatever sermon, whoever's speaking inside is also going to be speaking outside. So that is a viable service.
You're getting the same.
You'll be getting the same thing.
Right.
What about worship music? How's that going to work?
Inside?
Either way.
Yeah. So we have 2 songs that'll be outside. For the drive-in service, and the inside it'll be kind of a normal 2-song worship set.
I think that those that are hesitant to sing feel free not to sing. I think for the first few weeks we may just listen more than sing. Let the worship band just lead us in worship. I may hum a little bit under my mask because that's just me, but we don't want other people to feel uncomfortable, because there's a lot of studies that show that singing could be, a potential way to spread the virus. So we're just trying to be very cautious the first few weeks. It's just like everything else we've said. Everything is trial and error at this time, but we feel like we want worship music.
And this is what I was going to say, is that I think the biggest thing that you could do to help us as staff is just be patient with us, because none of us know, in a way, none of us know what we're doing with this. We are all trial and error. We are all trying to learn from other people. We're all trying to figure out what to believe and what not to believe. And so if it comes in and what we're doing, people may disagree with, or people may think it's crazy, or we're overcautious, just be patient with us, because we're trying to do our best. And we take seriously, which is why it's taken so long for us to open up. We take it seriously that God has entrusted people to our care, and we want to make sure we're honoring God the best way with that.
And again, you're not playing just off your experience, but you've gotten guidance from Pastor Jerry Lumsden, Pastor Todd Reynolds, the district leadership, from other churches that have opened. Yes, the board who serve faithfully, and this new board, and they have a lot on them too, with the pastoral search, with going through this COVID thing, and
so we're launching because we know people are so desperate for community, and we're seeing that people are already RSVPing. Like, we know people are signing up, and again, the RSVPs, they're not required. Like, if you wake up Sunday morning and you want to come, please come join us. But it just helps us prepare. So now we're knowing we have all these people signed up. So like, all right, we know what we can prepare for, what we need to do, and it's super helpful.
How do I RSVP if I want to come and bring my family? How do I do that, Doreen?
ShadyGrove.net.
Yeah.
Most everything will be, that's the hub where you can find the RSVP, any information about how we're changing. Each week we know we might have to tweak a little. So all that information will always be on ShadyGrove.net.
Also, pay attention to emails if you get our email.
Yeah.
I know it's hard. We don't always. You probably have a lot of work email, stuff like that. Sometimes it's hard not to open. And
sometimes it goes to spam.
Yeah,
check your
church
spam
email.
folder.
But that will be there will always be a direct link inside our e-news every week that you can also RSVP.
I think it's wonderful that we're going to have this live in-person service, and I know you've worked hard on it. But what if I come to the service and then the next week I'm diagnosed with positive COVID virus?
Yeah, this has been something we've talked about a lot on staff, is how we handle that. And the first thing we would love is please let us know, but don't be embarrassed about it, right? We know this is a highly contagious disease, and I'm afraid that I've heard from other people all across the country, friends that I have, and either they've gotten or they've had family that have gotten, and there's this stigma about it. It feels almost like leprosy you see in the Bible, like they're deemed unclean and no one wants to go near them, and they're like ostracized.
Are you going to stand up there and say, hey, Dan Loggins got COVID?
Exactly, yeah. We don't want to do anything like that. And so if you let us know, we have no desire to make the name public.
So it'll be secret.
Yes. The biggest thing we'll have to do is we do have to contact the health department just to figure out the next steps, but we don't have to give names. We just have to say, hey, somebody in our church did this. What's the best way to go forward? And then we want to let people know. But the real reason I want people to let us know, because we want to pray with you. We want to pray with you. We want to help you. Maybe you're living by yourself and you got the virus. Do you need groceries? We have a food pantry here. Somebody can drop them off outside your house. Somebody can go get medicine for you. Like, as a church, we want to support our people that are sick and that are hurting. And so, or maybe you're sick and you take care of another loved one and they can't get out. And so we want to be able to help them. Like, we are a church first. And so, yes, we want to be safe and make sure we're taking care of the other people in our church and let them know, hey, you may have been exposed. If you were, if you feel really nervous about it, maybe you should go get tested, that type of stuff. But the biggest part is, hey, we want to make sure that you know you're still loved by your church and you're not going to be ostracized because you have a virus. Like, we want to help you get healthy every way that we can.
I would kind of be surprised if that actually happens, because, I mean, it could, certainly.
Yeah.
But we're taking a lot of precautions. People, if they're not feeling well, they're not going to come to the service.
Yeah.
And because of asymptomatic people, I could really see this happening. Is a lot of times if you have to go get another test, like something at the hospital, sometimes you have to get, like my mom had to have a sleep study and she had to get tested before it, just as protocol. And so I wouldn't be surprised if someone comes to church having no symptoms and maybe they have to get tested for another reason and they find out they're asymptomatic and they're tested positive. It happens. My mom was negative, but I've heard of those things happening. And so if that happens, let us know just so everybody has the right information. My prayer is that there won't be spreading in our service. My guess is if somebody finds out they're positive, probably something happened before service or something like that. They find out symptoms come later, but they happen to be at church. And so, again, there's no blame anywhere around. We want to have the information so we can give the information to our people so we can stay inside as long as possible and create a safe environment as long as possible.
And we want them here, but everything is trial and error. If that happens, we'll pray and take the next steps that we need to. Amen.
You guys have been great sports through this, pretending like you're on the radio with a pretend professional broadcaster. I appreciate it so much, and I know you'll be guests on in the future. Thank you for listening to Shady Grove Radio this Wednesday night, and have a safe evening, a great rest of the week, and tune in again next week.